Hello everyone, it is Jazz here. Participating in the Tome Topple readathon got me thinking about very big books. So I wanted to do a video within that theme. I thought of the idea of talking about 5 very large books that I would like to reread. This is not necessarily a recommendations video, though if you haven't read these books, I highly recommend them, and I've been recommending them forever and you're probably sick of them, but I'm going to recommend them once more times. These are books that I have not read in 3 years or more, or have never read multiple times, and I just want to re-experience them even though they are super long. In no particular order, the first book that I would like to reread is The Stand, the complete and uncut edition by Stephen King. Yes, I don't have a dust jacket for this, but trust me, the dust jacket for this was not that cute anyway, so I don't really feel sad about losing it. In a brief summary, The Stand is a post-apocalyptic story that takes place after a killer flu virus has wiped out most of the population in America, if not the whole planet. And basically, a evil rises who is going under the name Randall Flagg, and there are people that side with the evil side and people that side with the good side, and they kind of have to battle it out to save the planet. You know, that kind of craziness that ensues. I've never read the original Stand that they published. I have only read the uncut edition, and when you read that first, you're like, how could you cut any of this stuff out? They probably did it first, edit it down, because the uncut version is like 1,053 pages, so yeah, it is definitely a door-stopping kind of tome. The reason I would love to reread this book is just because I really want to revisit the characters. The characters were so well developed, and he even talks about in this edition about how a lot of people act like they're real people, and I do have to agree, they do feel like real people, and the people that are the good guys that you root for, you really root for them. I kind of do just want to revisit the plot in The Stand, just because it is the kind of book where I think I would see something new about either the characters or the plot line or some of the themes that the book talks about in it. And I think I have had a lot of different experiences from the time that I originally read the book, so I think through having different experiences in my life, I would probably see different things. Next book is kind of a cheat. It is not quite over 500 pages. It is like 20 pages under that, but it is large in terms of size. And it is Comic Book Tattoo. This is a graphic novel that is a collection of stories based on songs by Tori Amos. So each song that they've included in this has its own little story. A lot of times they would pair a writer with an artist of graphic novels, or if the person could actually draw, they would just write their own story for it. So it's a really cool collection of different types of graphic novel art and different kinds of visions for the different songs, and it's kind of cool to see how people interpret the songs in maybe a different way from your own. It's definitely one of my favorite graphic novels, which is why I got it in hardcover instead of paperback, because my paperback, I read it once and it fell apart. So I have never reread Comic Book Tattoo, and I really do want to reread it since I did get the hardcover edition of it. One of the main reasons I would love to reread Comic Book Tattoo is because when I read it the first time, it was during like a blackout in my neighborhood. Like all the electricity went out everywhere, and so I was reading this graphic novel by candlelight in like the dark. So I think I would like to reread this one in the light, you know, so I could really see the pictures super well, and that would be extra cool. Not that it wasn't fun, it was a great way to pass a blackout, and it did really entertain me, and I got most of it read in that one evening, so it was a super fast read. But yeah, I was like, I just want to reread you when I can really see the pictures well. If you follow me for a long time, you know that Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte is one of my favorite books. This fabulous gothic romance about a girl named Jane Eyre, how she goes to be a governess in a mysterious house, working for the mysterious Mr. Rochester, and more mysteriousness happens. We all know that I love this book, and until recently, I did not realize that this book is over 500 pages because I love it that much that I just don't look at the page count. I just keep flipping and turning the pages every time I've reread it. I've read this multiple times since I was about 12, and I remember exactly where I was when I first read it. I was at a summer dance intensive, and we had lights out because we were at a university, and so they kind of wanted to keep us safe, so you had to like get your lights out at 10, and I would read this in the dark with a flashlight, and I like laughed and cried and enjoyed the book immensely, and it was just a really cool experience that I had with the first time I read the book, and I've had many great experiences after. I haven't reread this in several years, and I just have to reread it every once in a while. I don't know when I'll get around to rereading this, but I am definitely going to reread it at some point because I love it so much and I talk about it all the time. Then I have here Little Women, a fabulous story of the March sisters and just what happens in their lives, and it's just super sweet and cute. While I do really love this book, the main reason why I went to reread Little Women is because I got this really cool annotated edition of the book, and an annotated edition usually includes just little information about the time period, sometimes about the literature that is mentioned in the book, etc., etc. So just little extra tidbits about the story that make the story mean more and more interesting. And so you can see here that it has some cool pictures and things like that. I would really love to reread it just to read all the little annotations, but also would like to revisit it just because the first time I listened to it in audiobook, and so it might be cool to read it in actual print. This is very large, so I'm going to definitely have to figure out my comfortable spot to reread this. Last book that I have is The Host by Stephenie Meyer, a sci-fi novel in which aliens that are kind of body snatching kind of aliens take over the earth, and there is a small faction of people that live hidden away so that they don't get caught. And this girl here on the cover that has this eyeball, Melanie, her body gets taken over by one of these little alien creatures, but she actually is still present, like it doesn't erase her mind. And so the little creature that's inside her, who is lovingly named Wanda, and her basically try to figure out their way of living through all that drama. That's a horrible summary of The Host, but please forgive me anyway, world. I think I've read this twice, and I just like to reread it because it just is so interesting and fun, and I get really connected to the characters. And for some reason, this book makes me cry, as I've said many a time when I talk about this book. Don't know why. It's not a sad book, so if you're thinking it's sad because it makes me cry, it's not. I still don't understand it, but I guess it's just the way the scene that I cry at is written, because I never cry at books except for a very few. I just like revisiting these characters. Also, I really ship Ian and Wanda. They are so flippin' cute. If you got a favorite couple, you gotta revisit that as well. So those were 5 very thick books that I would like to reread in the near future, I hope. So I hope you guys had fun hearing those little interesting stories about those books, and I will see you all on Thursday. Thank you for watching. Bye!